The Accountant 2 is once again directed by Gavin O'Connor and stars Ben Affleck and Jon Bernthal. Christian Wolf applies his brilliant mind and illegal methods to reconstruct the unsolved puzzle of a Treasury chief's murder. I really enjoyed the first Accountant film. I thought it was a very suspenseful thriller action movie with good performances, good action, and a good story in general. And I was really excited after watching this trailer for the second Accountant film, and I didn't know that was actually coming out. I didn't know that this movie was being made, and when I heard about it, I was really excited. I thought it looked pretty cool. And then I saw that there was an early screening on tax day. So I went to go watch this movie on tax day because I don't want to pay my own taxes, you know. I thought that would be a nice balance out. Don't come at me, IRS, okay? I thought this movie was really good. A little bit better than the first one even. I think it's around the same ballpark, but I do prefer this one a little bit over the first one, mainly due to the chemistry between Ben Affleck and Jon Bernthal. These two actors work beautifully off together. The chemistry on screen is immaculate. These two characters feel like brothers that have been separated for a long time and that are trying to figure out a way to reconnect with one another, because deep down they do care for one another, even if they don't like to admit it. And I love how that slowly builds throughout the course of the film. And the introduction to Jon Bernthal here is like some of the coolest character introduction scenes I have ever seen. It cracked me up a whole lot. Jon Bernthal was really funny here. Probably the funniest I've ever seen him. He stole the show this entire film, and he is still able to give a lot of humanity to this character despite his outbursts and his comedic nature. He's still able to feel down to earth and knows when to take things seriously. And he never felt annoying, he never felt out of place, he felt just right in the story. But Ben Affleck is once again just as good as he was before as Christian Wolf. I really did like this character once again, and how he's now trying to put himself out into the world and actually try and reconnect with people, trying to make human connections, find love of sorts. And I really like this character development, especially after the first film, where he did promise to see his brother once again, and that's one of the first stepping stones, even if it didn't happen for him, wanting to try and reconnect with other people than just his work. I really like how this film explored that part of this character that wants that same human connection, and it does it in a lot of really heartwarming ways that are really fun to watch and really engaging to watch as well in terms of progressing the characters. But the investigation itself is also just as interesting and emotionally packed. There's a character played by Daniela Pineda who has connections with one of the characters from the previous film played by J.K. Simmons, and what her backstory is and how she starts to be, in a way, what Christian Wolf could have been if he kept going down a darker path. I really enjoyed. I wish that there was a bit more to this character and a bit more scenes with these two characters interacting, But honestly, for what they're able to do with Daniela Pineda's character here, I think was really engaging. How it progresses the main story and how it motivates our villains to do what they do and try to fight back against Christian Wolf and his brother. I really enjoyed, and I think it made for a very compelling investigation story here, especially with Christian Wolf using his precise set of skills to try and deduct what's really happening when no one else actually knows. He is the smartest one in the room always. He commands the screen and our intelligence, and Ben Affleck just portrays this character with such versatility, and I absolutely love the way he's able to handle himself in the action sequences once again. The movie is also shot beautifully as well. It's just as precise as it was in the first film in terms of the way it visually tells a story, but it goes for a more lighter tone here. The visuals, the music, the pacing, it has a different aesthetic compared to the first. The first felt like a gritty crime thriller, it felt like a mystery that's being unraveled. It is very serious. There's barely any jokes here apart from Anna Kendrick's character, but even then the movie is like a really serious thriller all throughout. This movie is a lot more lighthearted, a lot more fun, a lot more pulpy, and that is due to the chemistry between Ben Affleck and Jon Bernthal. And honestly, I think it worked pretty well despite the difference in tone. I think this is a nice companion piece to the first, because with the first it is very serious and tragic with these brothers, but now they're reconnecting with each other truly once again, and seeing that is honestly a real joy. And the movie putting a lot of emphasis on that joy in that character dynamic and giving them a lot more hope this time around, I actually think it is fitting, and it never loses that serious grit and tone and compelling storytelling that the first film had, and it did not sacrifice what these characters are and what they've been through. It actually felt like a proper follow-up, and one that makes sense when you watch the original movie. If I do have to have some flaws, the villains once again aren't the most compelling, and they don't have that same commanding screen presence that Ben Affleck and Jon Bernthal has, and so they can't be as compelling, And the detective lady that we see trying to team up with Ben Affleck, she was in the first film trying to uncover who the accountant is. She is not the most interesting character once again, and she can feel like a big hindrance to Ben Affleck and Jon Bernthal in this story at times. But apart from that, this film is just as good. But despite those faults, I still think this movie is a really good time at the theater. If you have a brother, definitely go watch this film with him. You guys are going to have a good old time and connect with each other as brothers a bit closer, family bonding and everything. I think this is a great movie for anyone who has a brother, despite these two brothers being military trained killers. But all in all, I had a great time with this movie. I thought it was fantastic, and I'm going to give The Accountant 2 an A-. It's the same grade that I give the first film, but honestly, it is a tad bit better. It's just around that same ballpark, Thank you guys so much for watching. Please leave a like, subscribe, comment, and I will see you guys next time.